These drivers made history as they created the craziest crash F1 has ever seen. I'll also show the crash which ruined every driver's race, the incident which put a driver in hospital, and begin with this crazy crash. This crash took everyone by surprise as it made one driver take off.
Sebastian Vettel, and there's locking up in a crash. Fernando Alonso goes over the top there of Charles Leclerc's Sauber. He got hit from behind by Hulkenberg, didn't he?
Luckily, none of them got any serious injuries, but bigger luck was required for this driver because what he went through was devastating. Robert Kubica was trying to overtake in the Canadian Grand Prix, but just when he got up close to Jarno Trulli's Toyota, disaster happened.
Last year for that, that's a big accident for Kubica.
Kubica was found unconscious when the car finally stopped, but luckily he survived. In fact, when he opened his eyes, he even asked if he could participate in the next Grand Prix. Man, these guys are tough. But this was still nothing compared to the crashes coming up next, like the one that happened in Australia, which made 8 cars retire from the race. And of course, the craziest F1 crash, which shocked the entire world. But first, check out what this driver, Vitaly Petrov, did, especially since he decided to jump. Even his steering wheel came off. Now that's crazy. But it wasn't as crazy as this race, because what happened here was simply a joke. It was the Austrian Grand Prix, sunny skies. Everyone was expecting a normal race, but what they actually got was everything but normal, because right at the race start, this happened.
And as you see, there is a shambles as 2 cars spin off, and now
the race got red flagged, and after all the mess was cleared, the grid started readjusting to have the restart. But little did they know that right after the restart, an unbelievable thing's gonna happen, which will affect every driver's race. And while the cars get ready for the restart, check out what happened here in Monaco, since these two went on top of each other. I guess they just couldn't control themselves. But this driver couldn't control his car either, which ended so horribly, it even became life-threatening. It was qualifying in Hungary. Felipe Massa was having a normal session, but then, all of a sudden, a spring got loose from the car in front, which suddenly came flying towards him. Before Massa could do something, the spring went through his visor and injured him above the left eye. This made Massa unconscious, while he was still going at full speed. Ultimately, he went straight across a runoff area and crashed. Felipe was quickly taken to the medical center, and so he survived that horrific incident. But nothing's more horrific than this crazy crash.
He's having a go again now. Getting a token burger, but... Oh dear! Oh dear!
Now that's crazy. But this driver did something crazy too, which even destroyed the race.
the Italian Grand Prix, we've got a car approaching sideways, he takes 2 out with him. Somebody arriving sideways down.
Now that's one way to overtake, but before I show you what happened at that restart of the Austrian Grand Prix, check out this crash in Australia, as it was simply a disaster.
With Ralf Schumacher trying to squeeze through David Coulthard, and contact! Ralf Schumacher in the air! Cars all over the place.
8 cars retired due to this. 8! And these two retired from the race as well. But the reason for it is not so good. Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Raikkonen were fighting for the Canadian Grand Prix win, but it was Lewis who got in the lead, and even made an early gap from the rest. Things got pretty boring, as Hamilton kept increasing the gap, which meant ultimately, he's going to win the race. But then, a car stopped on track, which caused a safety car. So almost all the top cars pitted to get a cheap pit stop, which included Hamilton and Raikkonen as well. Finally, the race got exciting, as everyone believed the top 3 will now fight for the win.
A good 8 or 9 seconds. Hamilton has smashed into the back of Raikkonen, and that is an unbelievable thing to happen.
F1 champions, everybody! But at least nothing major happened. Unlike this crash, which was so crazy, it'll shock you. It was the Brazil Grand Prix. Mark Webber just had a major crash. Debris everywhere. So much so that the safety cars and yellow flags were brought out immediately. Unfortunately, Fernando Alonso, who was racing behind Mark Webber, didn't see the flags. And so, disaster.
He wasn't aware that. And we've got another crash.
Stopped.
Red flag. We think Alonso's come round and.
Luckily, he survived with no major injuries. But this, another Brazil race, did give one driver some big injuries, mental injuries. Max Verstappen was the favourite to win the 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix. He did everything correctly in the race, made the crucial overtakes, managed his tyres. He even built a decent gap from the rest, so it was clear Max was going to win the race.
That is Max Verstappen, the race leader, and he has spun coming down the hill.
What an idiot! What an idiot!
That was Esteban Ocon.
I think when you're a lap behind.
Max lost the race, of course, and finished P2.
I don't know what to say, mate. Yeah, I know what to say. I hope I can't find him now in the paddock, because then he has
He even stuck to his promise and gave a polite thank you to his new best friend. But seriously, that was some crazy reaction. Comment below what you think of this. Was Verstappen's reaction justified? But I know this driver's reaction was completely unjustified, especially since he went through a horrible crash.
Geben könnte. Und es steht zur Debatte, dass auch am nächsten schwerer Unfall von Villeneuve.
In Eau Rouge, genau da, wo man nicht...
Bro walked out of the car as if nothing happened. That's crazy. But the crazier thing was what happened at the restart of that Austria race. Since it took a while to clean the crash's debris, everybody was looking forward to the race starting again. But right at the restart, deja vu happened. They crashed again. Nigel Mansell's slow-starting Williams caused this second crash. 12 cars got involved in this chain reaction, so the race again got red flagged and took over 2 hours to restart. And finally, on the third try, the race started normally. Ironically, it was Nigel Mansell who won the race. Crazy, right? But now that we're entering the top 3 craziest crashes of this video, things are gonna get even crazier. Like this crash of Michael Schumacher, which was so brutal, it could have ended his life. It was at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Everybody started well until this happened.
Side by side and they made contact. Michael Schumacher round.
But surely will have to be the safety car, won't it? Michael Schumacher's race.
Will he?
The big smash there, it's Lewis, he's got shaken.
Now that was close, but not as close as this crash, because this was just disastrous. It was the race start of the German Grand Prix. Everybody was paying attention to the race leaders, until this backmarker, Luciano Burti, created one of the biggest crashes of the century.
Massive accident. Luciano Burti rolls it. Huge roll. That's short to bring out the red flag, Martin.
And surely they will a red flag it. The safety car is standing by, it says on the computer.
Luciano survived, but since he got so many injuries, he had to quit Formula One forever. But now, the moment you've been waiting for, the craziest crash of this video. It was the European Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen was in the lead and about to win the race. The McLaren driver was performing well until he had a big lockup, which caused a flat spot on his front right tyre. Raikkonen also damaged the barge boards, which are behind the front wheels. Clearly, the state of the tyres was not good. But he and the team decided to still keep going, as they didn't want to lose the leading position. This made Raikkonen's job very difficult, because with every lap, the car was getting harder and harder to drive. The tyre damage was creating major vibrations throughout the car and suspension, and was causing trouble under braking and through corners. But he still kept it together, and so still stayed P1. Everybody was ready to celebrate, as it seemed Raikkonen pulled off a miracle, until the final lap came. Because since the car was almost toast, McLaren's nightmare came true.
Raikkonen is under real pressure. There goes the tyre, let's go. He would have got a podium if he'd pitted, instead of which he's going to get absolutely nothing. He wanted to stay out there. The common sense man said bring him in. They didn't do it.
Safe to say, the team wasn't happy. I guess no one would be, especially since he was only a few turns away to victory. But not Raikkonen. He didn't care much about the race loss. Why? Because he's a legend.
So Kimi, you don't regret anything about the last lap, do you?
No.
Like I said, legend. But you know what's even more legendary? The most insane races in history. Like the time when one driver was racing at full speed while his car was on fire. Or when a race got so out of hand, it created the darkest moment in history. And I know you want to know more about this, so click the video right here.